Support WrestleTalk!
Samoa Joe to AEW ROH confirmed. I'm Ollie Davis. I'm joined by Luke Owen, DAD. It is WrestleMania weekend, baby. Ooh. Ooh. So please subscribe. There's so much content coming your way. Some might say too much content.
There is a lot of content coming. In just a few hours, we will be doing Night 1 reactions to WrestleMania, and then tomorrow we'll be doing a review of WrestleMania Night 1. Then a few hours after that, it'll be live reactions to WrestleMania Night 2. And then the day after that, review of WrestleMania Night 2. And then a few hours after that, live reactions to WWE Raw After Mania. And then following that, a review of Raw After Mania.
Too much content. Hit the subscribe button, enable notifications to always on, so you can enjoy the shows with us.
Yes.
Don't be lonely.
No.
We can all be friends together.
And it's just like, it's such a fun WrestleMania weekend. We were just talking about this before we came in here to record, that we haven't had a weekend like this since 2019, a proper WrestleMania weekend where there's all of this stuff going on. There's GCW, there's Mission Pro, there's Big Gay Brunch, there's Bloodsport, and the Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. And it feels so fun and so nice to be back again, particularly when I think the highlight of WrestleMania weekend has already happened.
FTR versus the Briscoes?
It's not that. And it ain't Samoa Joe. It ain't a Jay Lethal heel turn. It was at Joey Janela's Spring Break, where during the Cluster F Battle Royal, Sean Ross Sapp was entered into the match, which was advertised ahead of time.
Yes.
However,
I forgot it was in
Oh wait, that's Hollywood Salcedo.
Salcedo with a low blow on Sapp!
Oh my god.
Sean Ross Sapp helped put her on the map. Now she's ubiquitous.
And now Denise Salcedo, 11-8!
Fuck, Denise!
Sean Ross.
What happened to Denise? So she wasn't an entrant.
no, she just
She
came in,
just turned on Sean.
turned on Sean for muting her all those times.
Does that mute us when you play it?
No, I would.
Can you play it back again?
I can do, yeah.
Oh wait, that's Hollywood Salcedo.
Salcedo with a low blow on Sapp!
Does she forget
Sean
what
Ross
to
Sapp
do?
helped put her on the map. Now she's ubiquitous.
She's gonna. That's awesome. Very, very good. Proud of those two goofballs. Well, let's talk about probably the second best news then, which is Samoa Joe returning to Ring of Honor, signing with AEW. They are kind of the same thing now, which does beg the question, why? But let's talk about the good stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, so we watched, we haven't watched the full show yet. I've watched bits and pieces of it. I saw Swerve versus Alex Zane, which was very, very good because Swerve Strickland, I'm still getting used to that. Swerve Strickland is so gosh darn great.
Mhm.
And Alex Zane, man, what incredible talent he is as well. But we watched together FTR versus the Briscoes for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships, which was up there now for my potential match of the year candidates. It was so great.
It's just it's that perfect alignment of it's a dream match that's been building for a while and properly building for 5-6 months.
Mhm.
So that gave the first third of the match was just people chanting tag team wrestling,
Yeah.
FTR,
There was
them boys.
There was a moment when Jay and Dax tagged in, and the place came unglued because I was like, "Oh, these are the two we want to see." Like, yeah, sure, Mark and Cash, that's all grand and everything. I'm really into that. But then when Jay tags, you're like, "Uh-oh, business about to pick up." Then Dax tags in, chewing his gum, and I was like, "Oh my, it's really gonna pick up now."
It's an extraordinary match, and it just I can't think of how it could have gone better.
Yeah.
And just like a sick suplex to the outside.
Yeah.
Such a simple spot. It's always teased, but it very rarely happens, presumably because it sucks hard. And they just what a brilliantly worked spot into the whole story.
And Dax getting to kick out of Big Rig. Like it was just there was so many awesome things now. Like, I felt like this was Dax's match. Like I felt like Dax got all of like the really cool like moments and spots in there, and he was like the real babyface in peril for a lot of the match.
Dax Maybe. He's definitely sort of the one the eye is drawn to most. But I feel like Cash is... Because Dax is so grumpy. He looks annoyed most of the time. Whereas Cash is very... I love you, brother. I'm going to do anything to help you. I actually preferred Cash in the match.
Oh, really?
Just because that moment after the superplex to the outside, it was him like checking on Dax, helping him back in the ring. That really like hooked me in emotionally.
Especially when they won, they hit the big rig, and then Dax was the one who got the pin. Cash did this dive to the outside to stop Mark getting back in. And then he just jumps. Cash does this huge dive on top of Dax to be like, "We did it!" And it was so awesome. And then they had this wonderful post-match angle where the FTR did the little Wayne's World bow down to the Briscoes, and they shook hands and they all hugged in the ring, and it was very lovely. And then those dickhead Young Bucks came in and ruined it all for everyone.
I mean, to me, that says the Briscoes are going to somehow be involved in the Bucks versus FTR and Dynamite on Wednesday.
Well,
I know they're controversial. The idea is that TBS or Warner Media does not want them on their programming. And I understand why. Like, why would you bring that cancel culture thing towards you? But goddamn, just as an isolated wrestling fan, I want this to be a three-way feud.
But does it just become a three-way feud in Ring of Honor? So it's not a Dynamite feud, then it becomes a Ring of Honor feud.
Potentially, yeah. Tony Khan said afterwards they only had sold 250 tickets before that tag match was announced.
Wow.
And that was the one that really drove everything up, and I think it was like 2,500.
I was going to say, I think it was nearing towards 3,000.
It was a good crowd.
It was a really good crowd. And I think that is the strength of stars and star power and things like that, selling tickets. That's really impressive. And we kind of did discuss, the scuttlebutt is that Warner Media were the ones who don't want the Briscoes, and that's why they haven't been on Dynamite or Rampage, done anything with AEW after they set up something at Final Battle in December. But if Ring of Honor is not going to be a Warner Media product, then does that mean that the Briscoes can hang around and still do stuff with Ring of Honor, and they just stay a Ring of Honor act?
We'll have to find out. But someone who will be on Dynamite is the subject of this video.
Oh, yeah.
After the main event, Gresham and Bandito, who, I haven't seen the match. Apparently it was very good, but not like the best thing on the card. Gresham retains and wins.
Yeah, he becomes
for the undisputed
ROH champion.
And Jay Lethal and Sonjay Dutt. Jay Lethal had turned heel earlier in the night. They come down. They beat up Gresham. All that history with them as a faction. I can't remember the name of their faction.
But it's because Jay Lethal was a mentor to Gresham.
But still, they were like a couple of years ago. They were the tag champs and
the Foundation.
The Foundation, that's what they were called, yeah. And that's going on. And who should come out for the save but Samoa Joe? The place became unglued.
No one saw it coming.
No.
I didn't either. I woke up this morning and when I was like, oh my God, Joe was there.
It makes so much sense.
Yeah.
But so many returns and things like that are kind of spoiled, or not even report spoiled, but you can just figure it out, can't you? Oh, the sort of non-compete clause has expired. Who is a free agent? This is where they slot in.
I think even me and Pete were talking about this with Tony Storm. It's that I think that when they announce it's going to be a mystery opponent, you're like, well, okay, well, it's a new signing, and it's likely going to be Tony Storm, and if it's not her, then it'll be Athena.
Well, Samoa Joe didn't have any of that sort of clues in advance, so it was a real great surprise. What a fit. He comes down, stares down Lethal, and there's history there as well. Because
Joe was a mentor to Lethal. Lovely sort of, Joe was a mentor to Lethal, he was a mentor to Gresham. The three of them sort of involved in a storyline now.
Yeah, the generation of the sort of original past and the present of Ring of Honor world titles.
Absolutely, yeah. Plus, all those TNA connections with Sonjay Dutt there.
Yes. But what I got really enthused by, Samoa Joe, longest ever reigning ROH champion by I think it's 575 days, because I looked at the numbers this morning. Lethal is the next longest reigning one.
Yeah.
But like 450 or something.
He's got a combined of like 700 or
But
so.
combined, he's more.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, damn. Who is better? The guy who held it longer in 2 goes, or the guy who held it only once, but for a very long time?
Yeah.
So that's like, with that and the sort of mentor history between them, Gresham's involvement as well. I don't know how he doesn't really fit in as well, but there is that through line of training. Just there's so much potential here, and that's just from a Ring of Honor perspective. Joe in AEW, because that has been confirmed and announced for Wednesday.
Yep.
Joe Danielson, Joe Punk,
I know.
Joe Keith Lee.
They released the graphic that said Samoa Joe is all elite. So while he does look like he's going to be doing a lot of stuff with Ring of Honor, he is also AEW bound. He did, like, in his press conference he was talking about, he was like, I want to win the Ring of Honor title, I want to win the AEW title, I want to win the TNT title, I want to win the Owen Cup tournaments. Like, he is all, pardon the pun, all in on this AEW thing. And I'm watching the rundown that he did for the save, and attacking Jay Lethal, putting Sanjay Dutt in the Coquina clutch, and it was so cool. And it really was like, oh man, it's 2005 Samoa Joe, and he's back again.
I don't know if I got 2005 Samoa Joe vibes. I got more like NXT champion Samoa Joe.
When he then did that press conference where he's like, oh yeah, I'm just going to win all the belts. I'm like, oh yeah,
please. So yeah, hugely exciting. Just as other stuff that happened on the pay-per-view, the Supercard pay-per-view, because it is a definite changing of the guard in terms of, there's these ROH guys who have the titles, Rhett Titus, Josh Woods. We're going to transition those belts onto AEW talent. So Wheeler Yuta is the pure wrestling champion. That fits in perfectly with the Blackpool Combat Club.
And Regal was watching the match as well. I was half surprised by that as well, because Josh has been doing some stuff with AEW. He's been doing some dark elevation matches. And I was like, oh, maybe they're just going to keep the belt on him. But no, Wheeler Yuta picked up the win.
We've got Mercedes Martinez picking up the interim because
Deonna
Purrazzo, an interim time.
Well, Deonna Purrazzo was already booked for Impact, so she was doing the Impact show like almost directly afterwards. Having said that, so were the Briscoes. So Deonna Purrazzo wasn't available to do the Ring of Honor show, so they crowned Mercedes Martinez as the interim champion, presumably then to do a title unification match.
Yeah, that number one contenders. Why can't you just do a number one contender match?
Well, it's nice to crown champions, isn't it? It's a starting point show.
Yeah. And who was the other one? Oh, Minoru Suzuki is the freaking TV champion.
Did not see that coming in the least on your bingo card for 2022.
You talk about the Briscoes wrestling twice. I didn't know that. Suzuki wrestled 3 matches on 3 different shows last night.
Oh, he's great, isn't he?
So, yeah, he's not calming down anytime soon. Let's see what you guys think of the Ring of Honor news. Let me see if this... Oh, my God. What has happened to my document?
Well, I'll kick things off then. Charles Berg says, Tony Khan better dish out the money for Simon Says, the song that inspired his WWE theme. I really enjoyed the Undertaker TED Talk. In all seriousness, it was very nice, a lovely speech, and I love seeing big, tough guys get emotional about their family. Yeah, we were talking about this on the podcast intro and outro, because it wasn't a traditional Hall of Fame setup with like the microphone there. He had like one of those Britney Spears style microphones, and it just looked like he was giving an inspirational talk as opposed to a Hall of Fame speech.
I'm a traditionalist. I want it on a stage in front of everybody. Everybody looks at it, not in the round. And podium and a microphone.
Yeah. For me, though, with the Hall of Fame, I haven't watched it and I haven't seen Undertaker's speech. I have heard that in order he thanks like his co-workers, his children, his wife, God, and then Vince. And it's just like, oh, that shows you the order of importance in Undertaker's mind. But apparently Scott Steiner was really disappointing. Scott Steiner with a live microphone just told a fun road story.
Badasses.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. Scott Steiner, who's been so vocally against the Hall of Fame for so long. And I was like, oh man, he's got a live microphone. He is a live wire. Nope, he's just out there. Thank you very much. Here's a fun road story for you. Thanks. See you later.
His nephew's probably winning the title back. You don't want to screw over your nephew. He's probably thinking about that.
Maybe.
Is that now? Is NXT now?
No, it's 1:00 in America time. Okay, so that's in a few hours
off. Zachary Jenkins says, Guys, here's the list. I don't know if it's in order. Joe versus Keith Lee. Joe versus Punk. Joe versus Hangman. Joe versus Moxley. Joe versus Kenny. Joe versus Eddie in a promo battle. Joe's a good promo, but
I want to see Joe versus Eddie.
Yeah. I'm more into the match there. That sort of all Japan style. I'm going to drop you on your head. They're both such fat, the Kenta Kobashi chops and stuff. Joe versus MJF. Well, that has all the context of MJF being in that entrance for Samoa Joe.
Absolutely. Apparently NXT starts at 6 p.m. in the UK, so it's 3 hours from now.
Okay. Joe versus Jay Lethal. I think that's clearly going to be his first feud. I love that Jay Lethal is probably getting more of a focus on AEW after this. He's turned heel. He's had the 2 matches in previous weeks.
I think those were just to set up the Ring of Honor thing, though. Like, I think he's going to be more Ring of Honor focused. Kind of like how Brian Cage, it looks to be more of a Ring of Honor guy now than he is an AEW guy.
God, I don't know I do not know what they're doing. And I've got to be honest, I think it's a mistake.
You're still on the idea that this was a silly thing to do.
It's not silly to buy Ring of Honor, but then to try running it at the same time as Rampage and Dynamite. I have my doubts on how. I just cannot see how it works. I'm more than willing to be proved wrong. I want to be proved wrong. But just historically, this does not turn out well for people who attempt such
there's burnouts,
thin spreading. Yeah,
the burnout is real,
and I'm worried. I don't want anything bad to happen to AEW.
Yeah, we don't want Dynamite and Rampage to suffer because time is also being spent on Ring of Honor. Like, you do need to have someone to essentially, like, you own it, but someone else does the day-to-day running of it, the booking of it. Like, keep Delirious on. Bring Delirious back in, have him run the shows and run the creative. He can be like the Vince McMahon of, we'll run creative past you. But having someone there to do that, as opposed to you sitting there with your notebook being like, well, I'll book the shows as well.
Yeah. Maybe that is what's going on behind the scenes, but yeah, I don't know. Shall we talk about
Zachary
SmackDown?
Jenkins, also had Joe versus Danielson, aka 2 dudes just beating the crap out of each other.
Yes, please. Keep getting your Ultrachats in. We'll read out every single one of them before the end of the show. WrestleTalk.com/support. But unfortunately, we do have to review SmackDown.
Well, it's not going to take as long, is it? Because so I watch Pete and Tempo review this show every single week. Not often live, but I do get to listen to the podcast version of it. And I hear them sit there and they whinge and they moan about how it's not a very good show, about how it's often pointless and this, that, and the other. I watched it this morning and got it done in 45 minutes.
Breeze.
Once you skip through the video packages and recaps and ad breaks, 45 minutes it took me to finish this show. It legit took me longer to watch Rampage, which is an hour shorter.
Well, I don't skip bits of Rampage. I watch the commercial breaks in Rampage.
You never know what's going to happen in that restaurant quality picture-in-picture. But yeah, legit, 45 minutes it took me to watch this show. And when you kind of look back at what happened on the show, it wasn't a lot. It was probably Pat McAfee was probably the lone highlight of the thing. Well, actually, and the finish to the Ricochet match.
Very good. So this was a standard subpar episode, right? I would say. But because it's the WrestleMania Go Home show, my expectations are so much higher.
I would actually say it's below substandards in terms of how SmackDown has been for the last few months, really, like certainly in 2022, because it didn't have Roman or Brock on it, and it didn't have
Rousey or Flair.
I have Flair doing that promo, but like that is it. But like, yeah, I mean, and I feel like I am a broken record at this point, and people will be sick of me bringing this up. The WWE have spent all of this year telling us that the 4 most important people in this company are Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey, Roman Reigns, and Charlotte Flair. Those 2 matches, those are the big matches going into WrestleMania. They are the most important matches. And when on Raw, they had Brock Lesnar do a promo, and then they had Roman Reigns do a promo, and they didn't interact, I said to people, like, it's because they're saving something big for SmackDown. Because SmackDown's the A show. They're going to say that's going to be the really big go-home angle for it. And they weren't on the show at all.
They had a video package that I'm pretty sure I've seen already.
And we're going to see again at WrestleMania. Like, it was shocking how they weren't on this show. And there was nothing for Rousey either. And Rousey wasn't on Raw. This is one of your biggest matches. And you didn't fly in Ronda Rousey to do the go-home shows for them. That is maddening.
Yeah, very baffling decision. But let's talk about what did happen on the show. It opened up with the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Everybody was already in the ring, apart from Finn Balor and the Dirty Dogs, because they are champions. They got entrances.
Well, one of them's a champion.
Dolph.
Yes.
Yeah.
Robert Roode isn't a champion.
Yeah, but
he's a champion.
he comes out alongside. I meant Finn Balor and Dolph.
Oh right, sorry. I think you meant the Dirty Dogs because they're champions.
They're not both they're not both NXT champions.
Well, that's what I thought you had misconstrued. I thought, do you think they're both the champion?
That's a better storyline. So loads of small name eliminations early. Like, this match went 10 minutes, so everyone was being chucked out. I think at one point the entire 24/7 title division was eliminated in one go.
Yeah, Tozawa and Reggie and R-Truth all got taken out. But, we're also here being like, well, they didn't book Finn Balor versus Damian Priest on WrestleMania. They must have something really big for them planned in this Battle Royal. Nope, Damian Priest just got eliminated with zero fanfare, and then Finn lost.
Well, Finn threw Priest out, so there's a little bit of plate spinning.
But I've got a theory on that. Theory being the key word there.
Mm-hmm.
I think Theory's winning the US title on the Raw after Mania.
Wow. Well,
I think he gets beaten by Pat McAfee at Mania, and then he wins the US title on the Raw after Mania.
2 reported things about all these men involved. Apparently, Vince McMahon sees Austin Theory as a John Cena level future star.
Really now?
Take that with a pinch of salt. I can't remember who reported it.
High on a Raw star.
He's high on a Raw star,
backstage.
essentially. But it's a new way of saying it. John Cena potential.
They've rebadged it, you fool.
The other one is Edge will apparently be getting a heel faction.
Ooh.
And the only name mentioned is Damian Priest.
Huh. He has brought up Priest, I suppose, in interviews and stuff. So, yeah.
They've even interacted backstage.
Oh, yeah, when they were both baby faces.
Yeah. So the only other storyline thing Aziz and Shanky had like a 10-second stare down. Ciampa was in there.
Already. Like, tonight, in 3 hours' time, it's reported to be his final NXT match. Already, he's a geek on the main roster.
Yeah. He did eliminate a few people, but it was... Yeah. It was not the sort of booking that inspired confidence for his future run. Happy Corbin came out to help Madcap Moss, nearly screwed it up, nearly eliminated Moss, so Happy Corbin went to the back.
He did save him.
He did save him, but there was like a, I nearly screwed up. So they're definitely building a kind of...
A split there.
A split.
Happy Corbin has not been finding his jokes funny as of late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this all built to... Moss and Balor as the final 2. Madcap Moss throws out Balor. Moss gets to stand next to the trophy with his arms crossed.
He sure did, and he told a joke about Dallas. But I did laugh when he said, I did it all by myself, because he would have been eliminated had Corbin not saved him. I thought it was also really funny as well when they were showing the video package for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and how important it is to a career. They can only show 2 winners of it now, because every other winner no longer is with the company.
Can you Quizzlemania round?
Can you name them?
Yeah,
I was going to ask you this question, because I can name... I don't know if I can name all of them, but I can name some of them.
Okay, intense. Cesaro.
Yeah, he was the first. I think Big Show won it the following year.
Baron Corbin.
Mojo Joe?
Yeah, I think Mojo Joe. Oh, it's like, why is it the more recent ones I can't remember?
Well, I know who won last year's.
Oh, Jey Uso.
Yeah, Jey Uso won it last year. Are we missing one?
I think we've got 2. I think
we're missing 2 of these.
I think there's been 7 or 8.
Well, they're not with the company anymore, so that well, I was about to say that won't narrow it down, actually, will it? If anything, that makes it harder. Matt Hardy won?
Yes.
Oh, with Bray Wyatt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe that was the only other one. But yes.
Oh no, Braun apparently has also won it.
Did big predictor of future success. So big things in store for Madcap Moss. Ricochet took on Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo next for the Intercontinental title. This was every 2 heels versus 1 babyface 3-way you've ever seen. They work together at the start, and then they sort of self-combust when they both try and make the pin. However, I really enjoyed this.
Good match. Really, really good match. Because Ricochet's real good, and Humberto's really good, and Angel Garza's real good.
Garza's my favorite.
Yeah.
His facial expressions are perfect.
Yeah. It reminded me of, and this might just be recency bias because we just reviewed it. But you know when Generation Me in that Ultimate X match, where they had made the decision that no, it wasn't Matt Jackson, Max Buck was going to win.
And
Jeremy Buck was sort of like, when he tried to stop him, Max Buck was like, hey, we didn't. We had a plan here. That's what, got a lot of vibes of that in this.
So I think Los Lotharios are fine. I don't think this means they're going to break up. But Ricochet hit for the finish. 630 senton on Garza, rolled through and hit the recoil on Carrillo. Fantastic, finish.
Insane. So good. Poor old Ricochet, though. The booking to get here was he got pinned twice on SmackDown last week and then got pinned in 90 seconds on Raw. And it was like, well, cool. What a great champion he is looking to be.
I think it also makes Los Lotharios look a bit wank as well.
Yeah.
After that, we got Naomi and Sasha taking on Queen Zelina and Carmella ahead of the 4-way women's tag match tomorrow? Tonight?
No, I think that's tomorrow.
Okay. This went 0 seconds. Banks and Naomi won very easily, and all the other women were around the ring going, we could win now.
I'm just going to check because I think Queen Zelina. I cannot remember the last time Zelina and Carmella won a match as a tag team. I feel like all they've done is just get pinned a lot recently.
Wasn't it? Didn't they win one recently?
So Naomi and Banks beat Carmella. Liv Morgan, Naomi, they won there. Sasha Banks defeated Queen Zelina. Liv Morgan defeats Queen Zelina. Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley defeat Queen Zelina and Carmella. Bianca Belair defeats Queen Zelina.
Carmella keeps giving Corey hand jobs
so
on commentary.
So by looking at this, they haven't won a tag team match since they won the tag team titles off of Rhea Ripley and Nikki ASH.
It's the great booking of the weak champions. You want to see them lose it. They are so going to retain.
That's what I was about to say to you. It's making me think now they're going to retain. I had Banks and Banks and Naomi, and I don't think they're winning now because they pinned them so easily here.
Ronda Rousey isn't here. She is training, and she looks bored. And Kayla Braxton interviews her. She's in a gym, and Rousey's like, actually, I'm pretty cool. I'm fine. I'm channeling my anger. I'm keeping it down. But I'm going to beat you, Charlotte Flair. And that was it. And I thought, God damn, that was your go-home promo? Yeah. I didn't mind the direction, but maybe do that second week or 3 weeks out. This should have been straight down the lens, shouting, while you're breaking someone's leg. Maybe not as a babyface, but, this did not make me excited one iota.
We got that 1 week where Vince McMahon told her to cheer up.
Yeah.
And it's like, you've got to let it go that fans don't like you.
Why wasn't the brawl this week? The big backstage brawl?
Well, because she wasn't booked for these shows. So I guess I thought this was very, very dull. And then Charlotte Flair cut this promo. That was every Charlotte Flair promo you've ever seen. And have you seen Becky's interview she did with Ariel Helwani? And it's not an in-character interview where Ariel asks her, does it bother you that you're not the main event of WrestleMania this year? And she was like, I think it's really stupid that we're not, because what's a better storyline? The only 2 women who've ever main evented and won WrestleMania being the main event of WrestleMania, or 2 losers of WrestleMania main events being the main event. And then you're like, okay, so some of this feels like it's in character. But then you start talking about I think our characters are better. I think our story has been so much better. I think our in-ring work has been so much better. I think our action has been so much better. Their storyline's really boring. And their dialogue is really boring. And their characters are really boring. And everyone's like, yeah, Becky's right. Why aren't they the main event?
Becky sounds like she should be on this show.
Becky's like, they're only main eventing because Ronda Rousey's her name.
Becky should be on the podcast with us. She knows. Nothing else to add. Only that I think Charlotte is a good talker, and I never realized it until I was watching her here. She's Stephanie McMahon. Like, she is the authority Stephanie McMahon, where she is very competent at saying words. And you're like, yeah, I believe that you are very powerful. Does not make me want to see you.
Yeah. I think they're going to have a good match at Mania. I really do. I think it will be a very good match, but it has got not a lot going for it going in.
I will add that, actually, after saying I've got nothing to add, they played an excellent video package, which was new, and it kind of had clips of Dana White talking about Rousey, clips of Triple H talking about Charlotte, the idea of these two things in parallel sports about to collide. That was really good.
It's the WrestleMania 35 main event they always wanted, but Becky Lynch had the temerity to get over.
Brock and Roman, this is where we got their video package, and then nothing. That was it. A video package.
Yeah.
Unreal.
I have no idea.
Rick Boogs, this was the best thing on the show after this. Rick Boogs comes out, he's doing the guitar for Shinsuke. Pat McAfee, try and stop him. He's like my mum after a couple of glasses of Bacardi and Coke. That's what she has. And you give me the can of Coke next to the Bacardi so she can see how much Bacardi's in there. Mm-hmm. That's how she does it. A couple of those. She's on the table air guitaring as well.
Yeah.
And Austin Theory ran out and tripped him.
Took a hell of a bump, did Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee, bumps, and then has the perfect, just like there, pissed off face, and then slowly turns around to look at Austin, and Theory runs away, chases after him. Pat McAfee is excellent.
Yeah, no, he's good.
I really like
and
him.
then, so they run backstage, and Pat's chasing after Austin, and Austin runs into Vince McMahon's office. Pat thinks about it, and he's like, maybe I'm not going to do anything. And he turns around, and he boots down Vince McMahon's office door. Vince McMahon comes out like, what are you going to do? I don't want me to fire you. I can't get involved in Austin territory. I'll cancel your match. He's going to cancel this match. So he then has to go back to the commentary desk, regain his composure, and then commentate on the next match. And during the match, Austin Theory comes back down again and throws some ice cubes onto him. And he starts to run away. Finn Balor gets involved in it. This singles match turns into a 6-man.
Finn Balor, why? So what happens then is Finn Balor takes the pin in a match where Rick Boogs is there.
Well, they're heavily protecting Rick Boogs because he is incredible. He's the star of the Nakamura act. Like, he's the guy that they really like in the Nakamura act. So they're not going to have him take the pin. Nakamura was more likely to take the pin than Finn Balor was. Also, Balor and Nakamura were on the same team together, and no one is making.
I didn't even think of that.
Two New Japan legends, two former IWGP Heavyweight Champions. I was like, yeah, and then Rick Boogs did a cool suplex, and Austin Theory got involved.
Boogs is amazing.
He's great.
He is down on one knee, and he lifts Jimmy up over his head, and then gets to standing while Jimmy is over his head. Insane.
Very strong.
And then after that, I can't remember who it was, but he is sort of flipping him from side to side.
Yeah.
This guy's stronger than Cesaro.
Well, that's it. That's why I think that Vince was quite happy to let Cesaro go. He's like, I don't need you anymore, pal. I've got one of you that I like.
I've got one that's American.
I've got one of you that can cut a promo. You can't do that, can you, Tony?
You can't play guitar. You just got a weird YouTube channel where you review coffee. I don't understand you, Swiss.
But I think my issue with this is
why didn't Cesaro show up in Ring of Honor?
Hey, well,
that's an open goal.
You can't do all of them on the one night, can you? You've got to save them for the weekly TV show that apparently is coming. But yeah, Theory pinned Balor in this. I think he's going to win the US title on the Raw after Mania. And I think my issue with this is the same issue I had when they did this on Raw, which is that Austin Theory versus Pat McAfee in WWE's mind, it's just like one of the biggest matches, but it comes to the detriment of other people. So like he pinned Ricochet in 90 seconds, who's the IC champion. He pinned Finn Balor here, who's the US champion. And actually, it devalued the tag team title match between Nakamura and Boogs and the Usos. Like, no one's talking about that match.
No.
So you kind of, this is a cool feud, but it's making every other feud that they're involved with feel lesser.
Yeah.
And it's
Pat McAfee is really good.
And it's a feud with a commentator.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. But I love the when Jerry the King used to do this, when I was a kid, and like the whole feud with Taz
yeah.
and the sweet
I'm
jar
blind,
over there.
I'm blind.
It's not as good as that, but man, Pat McAfee is
great,
excelling in this role. I'm really into him, so I agree with everything you're saying. But there's that bit inside me that's just like, but I like it.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that is fair.
The main event segment, the go home segment, the go home angle to build WrestleMania.
Yeah.
The last main roster piece of programming before the biggest show of the year.
When this started and there was 15 minutes left of the show, my first thought was like, I don't know how they're going to squeeze in Brock and Roman before the show runs out.
It was happy talk. Moss talks about how he's happy winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal trophy. Corbin kind of puts him down because he's like, oh, I did that years ago. And then they brought out Drew McIntyre's sword. He renamed it to Euphoria. I don't get the joke.
Well, Euphoria
it's a show?
It's a TV show. It's about sex, I think. Is he saying it's like a big dick?
Like an erection?
Yeah.
Could be.
Maybe.
And it was named after Drew's late mother, Angela. And then Corbin delivered his joke. What does Drew's sword and his mother have in common? He lost them both.
This feud has been jokey comedy feud with two goofballs and Drew McIntyre murderizing them week after week. And then all of a sudden, the go-home episode, Corbin's like, your mum's dead, and I'm gonna decapitate you. It's like, bloody hell, mate! Like, what happened here?
Yeah, it's a tasteless joke. I don't mind tasteless jokes. I think, bad guys should say bad things. That's what makes the good guys beating them work so well. It just came out of nowhere. It's bad writing. It's oh crap. We don't have Brock or Roman on the show.
Drew's mum's dead. Make a joke about that.
No, don't take the bitch out. Actually, that's too far. I think it was such a lazy way to get heat. I'm not against using that to get heat, but it was just a line thrown out there.
Yeah, it didn't work for what this feud has been, and this feud has been that Drew wins all the time. And like he beat them in a 2-on-1 handicap match on Raw to make us excited for that. But did you actually watch Raw this week?
No.
So the story going into this match is that since Happy Corbin won in Vegas and became Happy Corbin, he's been unbeaten. And then he lost on Raw. And he then stole Drew's sword and hit End of Days on him. And Jimmy Smith said, that's how you stay undefeated.
He's new here.
Because
Jimmy Smith doesn't know.
No. The story is that he's not been beaten because he pinned Madcap Moss. So in WWE's mind, he is unbeaten, even though he's got losses.
You can kind of spin that.
This is for me. This is like because they did a video package for Austin and Kevin Owens, and they really are running with it. This is the first time that Steve Austin's been on WrestleMania since his last match at WrestleMania 23 or whatever it was.
It is North Korea. PR. They just rewrite history and expect us to believe it.
We haven't seen Austin at WrestleMania in 19 years, apart from all of those other times he's been at WrestleMania.
Apart from his every 3-year compulsory appearance to drive his little buggy down.
There was a period of time when he was on every WrestleMania.
When I'm ill, I tend to just watch wrestling documentaries. It's like my easy watch. I started watching the Ruthless Aggression series. I'm like, this isn't how it happened.
Oh my god, it's so good, right? The series one of that is hilarious in its retelling of history.
What are they talking about? None of this is right. And Bruce Pritchard's there like, yeah, and it worked really well.
I know. Every decision we made worked out for the best.
It's the Alan Partridge book of needless to say I had the last laugh. But it's Bruce Pritchard saying, Yeah, and it worked out really well for us. Well, then why did you have to redo everything?
Yeah.
No, it worked out.
So your massive downturn in business, it worked out for the best.
Anyway, then it cut. Drew ran down, chased them off with a steel chair, and then he got the sword. Corbin and Moss go up the ramp. Both sets of guys stay there. And then Michael Cole runs through 3 minutes of WrestleMania graphics. And I was like, have I got the wrong... Has my video loaded wrong? And Lesnar and Reigns now going to come out?
Yeah.
And it then goes back to the ring. Drew's there. He puts the sword in the ground. Pyro, Moss, and Corbin are still on the ramp, and they get scared. And it's like, so you were just standing there for 3 minutes?
Just watching them. Just watching each other.
What presumably they were watching the WrestleMania graphics.
Yeah, can't wait for that match.
Oh, yeah, actually, yeah.
What are your predictions for that? Tempest made this point when we did the podcast yesterday as well, which I actually was not aware of. This Happy Talk segment has already happened in this feud back in December when they stole his sword and then did a Happy Talk segment where Angela was the special guest. And here we are. It's the go home angle for WrestleMania.
But this time, your mum's dead.
Escalation.
Lol. A far, but I gave it the lowest score.
I saw
25%.
Yeah,
It's the lowest score I've given anything this year.
It was a rubbish show.
Yeah, and it was the go home show. Ultra insulting. Rampage was brilliant.
Yeah, real good.
Top Flight versus Young Bucks kick things off with just Dante Martin and Nick Jackson. Just insane stuff that I've never seen anybody do before.
Yeah, they're just so great. Like, that's the perfect people to start this off with. It's kind of like, they always do it with Nick and Ray Phoenix. It's like, yeah, we'll do you two to start with because you can go do your little flip-de-doos nonsense and everyone goes crazy for it.
Dante did a standing jump backwards over two guys' heads and they were still standing upright.
He's impressive.
That's so high and far and backwards.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're super duper impressive. Oh, I've just seen your note here. I don't think Jericho should be on commentary while in this gimmick.
So I have, I'm a Jericho apologist. I always defend him, and I'm one of the few people who say he's great on commentary. I really enjoy his commentary. I think he's got a good color commentator mind and voice, and he's very quick-witted. But that was for sort of babyface Jericho. Ever since Rampage started, he has been babyface. Now he's turned heel. It doesn't work in this role for me.
It's not working for me either. I don't like as a four-man commentary booth anyway. I actually much preferred Rampage when he wasn't on the show and it was just Taz, Excalibur, and Ricky Starks. Perfectly fine. With four men on there, they're all talking over each other. And because Jericho's commentary is shouting, it feels like everyone else then has to shout as well, otherwise they're not going to get heard. And I think it becomes quite muddled.
But yeah, great match. A very impressive match. And the Young Bucks won in just under 10 minutes. Very good opener.
Good win for them because it sets them up versus FTR on next week's Dynamite.
Oh my God.
So we've got the Bucks versus FTR 2 happening on Dynamite next week.
American Top Team are in the ring. Dan Lambert cuts a promo. Paige Van Zandt mentioned Orange Cassidy again. So Cassidy potentially is going to get incorporated into this feud. I
think legit Orange Cassidy is signed up for our OnlyFans and they have found out and they're just going to keep mentioning it.
And then Sammy Guevara and Tay Conti appear on the screen.
Big baby faces.
because Lambert's like, you're not going to get the match. And they trash Dan Lambert's car with sledgehammers in, admittedly, a very satisfying way. Some of those sledgehammer shots properly went through the glass.
Well, particularly with Ty Conti, because she's not the biggest person in the world. That hammer's probably heavier than her.
Yeah.
I thought she's going to go with the hammer when she's swinging it.
But yeah, by the end of this, Sammy and Tay are not likable.
It's weird, isn't it? Because when they did the segment on Dynamite a few weeks back, and you mentioned this, I didn't really agree with you. I was like, oh no, I still buy Sammy and Tay as like the cool badass, particularly because they did the sex on the title, and then Dan Lambert was like, oh no, I put that on my mouth, and now I've got your sex in my lips. And I was like, oh no, this is really funny. Here though, I was like, I don't like you guys at all. You just ruined that man's car.
They're okay apart. They're very likable apart, but together they're too attractive. This is what I keep thinking.
You still think that's the problem?
I keep thinking they're too attractive, and I don't want to cheer them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we are the only podcast in the world that likes Dan Lambert, so maybe that's why we're siding with Lambert on a lot of this.
Hook was going to get interviewed, but Danhausen interrupted. He tried to curse him. It didn't work.
It didn't work last week either. I popped so huge for this last week when Hook, he destroyed QT Marshall and Aaron Solo, and then Danhausen comes out. Crowd goes nuts because it's Danhausen. He tries to curse him. Hook just walks past. I was like, well, that's a fun spot. And now they're doing it as a storyline. Danhausen cannot curse Hook. When Danhausen signed with AEW, if you'd have said, what's his first feud going to be? I wouldn't have got to Hook in my first 75 guesses. And I think there's only 75 people on the AEW roster.
There's more than that. There's more than that in a Nightmare Family.
So I'm real thrilled that Danhausen's first in-ring match for AEW might be against Hook. I think that's really, really cool. And I love Danhausen.
House of Black then took on Fuego del Sol, Stu Grayson, and Evil Uno. Why? I don't know. Dark Order helping out babyfaces.
They set it up last week.
Yeah.
They're not like in the House of Black because they bullied Fuego del Sol 3-on-1s. They came to back him up.
Sure.
And now they're going to have a little 6-man tag here.
Yeah, I feel sorry for Dark Order. They just feel like Hangman's cast-offs now.
Yeah.
They've traded in, they've got dumped by Hangman, and now they're trying to get Fuego.
I don't know if they're trying to get Fuego.
Well, they should be. They should be. That's their whole gimmick.
Is that they're trying? You're right. Their gimmick is they're trying to recruit people.
I know the story. I don't think it works.
Yeah,
it's just a way to give House of Black some people to feud with.
I thought this match was much more fun when it was Bear Country.
Yes,
a couple of weeks ago. I loved that 6-man tag, and this 6-man was good, but I don't think it was as good as that one.
I really enjoyed the match.
Really good match.
The story was Dark Order, very good at working together. Fuego del Sol, he's a freaking idiot. And he kept on trying to take on Malachi Black, and Black would destroy him. Tempest had this described House of Black as early Shield, in that they all wrestle very distinctive styles. I was like, hot damn, that's a good comparison.
It is actually, yeah. I just love them as an act. I think they look cool. Their entrance is rad. It's so much fun watching them wrestle. Even, I thought the match 2 weeks ago was better, but this match was still really good. And this crowd were really into Fuego. And when Fuego was in the ring on his own and he was going to fight them 3-on-1, the crowd got really into it. And Dark Order sort of helped him out a little bit. He got a near fall on Malachi Black. Then went to go do a springboard, and Malachi kicked him out of the air with a black mass, and it was beautiful. Yeah. He is, I'm going to use this comparison lightly. He's got Mikey Whipwreck qualities.
Oh, Fuego. I see what you mean. Yeah. I could buy that. But what I can't buy is the House of Black being Jericho's Sports Entertainers of the Week.
Yeah.
So at the end of the match, after House of Black won, of course, Jericho said, and that's why they're my Sports Entertainers of the Week. And a little graphic popped up that said, Sports Entertainers of the Week, House of Black, picture of House of Black. And yeah, I did not like that.
I thought you were going to talk about Penta's promo.
That as well. Later on, there was Penta and
the Sith Lord.
The Sith Lord doing a promo. And it was like, don't forget about Death Triangle.
Too late.
I was like, yeah, but we've done that, haven't we? Can the House of Black can do something else now?
Yeah.
So yeah. Bucks had an interview on FTR, which was very funny. Brandon is off camera and he keeps on adding titles that the Bucks forgot to mention that they had won. Jamie Hayter took on Skye Blue for an Owen Hart tournament qualifier. This was, I think this should have been Hayter squashing Skye Blue.
Yeah, I agree with you. I actually said this on yesterday's show that I'd expect this to be a squash match. And it was still, Hayter never looked like she was in trouble. She was always quite in control of the match. she just sort of like let Skye Blue's got to get the better of her every now and again. And it goes back to the Kenny Omega Alan Angels match, which people got really mad about because it was like, why is Alan Angels getting so much in on Kenny Omega? And apparently it's like, I think it's a Ric Flair philosophy, which is what Kenny Omega's went with for that match, which is that, well, if I beat you in 30 seconds, then I beat nobody. But if I beat someone who actually was like 50-50 with me, then I beat somebody. And that makes me then look better. So I get why they did it this way. But at the same time, I think it probably could have been shorter, and I think Jamie probably should have just won quicker.
Yeah, I totally accept that philosophy. But that's Kenny Omega. He's got a decade of reputation and being built up on the mainstream products. Jamie Hayter, for me, has never proven in AEW. I'm not saying like her as a performer. I'm saying her as a character. She's never done anything. She's often getting a fool made out of her.
She's unbeaten in 2022.
Yeah. So show me that. I think this is, and Skye Blue is very promising, but this was the time for Hayter to just destroy her, really, because Hayter is great. Those brain busters, the ripcord lariat, the way she just poses. Like she'll knock him out and then she'll just look over her shoulder.
Cocky pins and stuff, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, she's really, really great. There was a moment during this match as well when I think it was Taz or someone was like, she grew up on the mean streets of Southampton. And then said to Rick Starks, have you ever been to Southampton? And he was like, oh, I know it very well. I spent 3 weeks in Wolverhampton. I was like, they're nowhere near each other. Come on, guys.
But the main event was extraordinary.
Wasn't it just?
Powerhouse Hobbs versus Keith Lee. Even the promo beforehand. Powerhouse Hobbs cut a great promo.
So good.
And so obviously Keith did. The Keith Lee coming down. Do you see the guy in the front row who was singing every word of his entrance music?
Oh, yeah.
Just brilliant. And it was just a hoss fight. Like both guys, shoulder tackle. This exchange where a shoulder tackle finally got Keith Lee off his feet. Keith Lee goes into the ropes, comes back, shoulder tackled Hobbs out the ring. So simple to perfection.
We bring up the Ishii match that he had in Rev Pro so often, and that's because it was a match that went 20-ish minutes, and it was built around one of them doing a suplex. Like it was one suplex. That entire match was built around one suplex. And there are times when I watch Keith Lee matches where I see a lot of that. It's like that spot there was just built around shoulder tackles. Really simple stuff, but the crowd were going mental for it. They went like nuts just doing a lockup.
Yeah, there was a long period before they even touched of them just soaking up and amping up the crowd. Lee was sort of worked over for a bit through the commercial break. He was sent into the ring post and the barricade, and the finish was Starks came down with a chair. Lee just chops it out of his hands.
He cuts him open. He's like, I think that's how Starks got cut open.
No way.
I think the chair swiped him across his face.
But then Hobbs hit the last will. And is the last will and testament. And you got the visual pin, but the referee was dealing with Starks. Taz ran down. He's like, get in the ring, referee. It was really good controlled chaos. Swerve has run down by this point. He's brawling with Starks. But Lee gets the win with
Big Bang Catastrophe.
And then the beatdown continues, sort of quite effectively masking over Hobbs's loss, I thought. And Starks really dodgily put Swerve through a table, nearly lost control of him. And in the ring, what was it? Hobbs spears Keith Lee through a table in the corner, and the table just went.
Yeah, it's shattered into a million pieces. A satisfying table break, really satisfying. I thought it was a really fun ending to the match as well, because the commentary were doing a really good job of putting over that Team Taz panicked. That Hobbs was actually in more control than they thought he was. And he might have had that match won had Ricky Starks not run down. And so Team Taz's sort of like willingness to get involved that's what cost Hobbs in the end. So there's a good, interesting stuff that can be played off of that. But the fact that Hobbs stood tall with him afterwards means like maybe he's not even aware of that's really what happens. I thought it was a really, really fun finish, and it was a great main event to Rampage.
Yeah. Obviously love Keith Lee, but the guy I'm coming out of this match more almost is goddamn Will Hobbs.
Well, I think that was the point, really, wasn't it? It was designed. This match was designed to put him over, and Keith Lee did an incredible job in making him look like a star.
I didn't give this one a rating, but I feel like it's unfair to rate Rampage because it's half as long.
Yeah, and it is usually just matches.
Yeah.
It's just 4 matches. There's never really huge angles. There's storyline advancements, but there's never like massive things happening on the show. So yeah, it's hard to rank it, but like every week it's my favorite show to watch. It's an hour long. I get 4 really good matches out of it. It's a fun time.
It's over before you can even sort of get remotely bored with it.
Yeah.
Let's see your remaining Ultra Chats. Remember, WrestleTalk.com/support. Get them in. We'll read out everyone over $5, but we haven't got long. John Rye says, I popped so loud for that tag team match. This is FTR Briscoes. That I woke up my lady partner after she had a long day. Have to take her to brunch now to make up for it. Supercard of Honor was a great show. I feel optimistic for the future of ROH. Feel like a kid again.
I mean, you say that it's the Briscoes FTR. It could have been the Sasha Banks and Naomi versus...
It could have. I don't know why I'd be talking about Supercard of Honor being a great show. As an aside,
ROH is also very good.
I know what you mean, though, John. It was just like, there's AEW, I love, obviously, but ROH was sort of my early teens. 2010s, I mean, not teenager. And just seeing the setup, the size of the crowd, it felt nice.
It felt like Ring of Honor again. You and I said this while we were watching, that since AEW started and the Bucks and Cody left, there's something been missing in Ring of Honor, and Ring of Honor hasn't felt like Ring of Honor did, like the heights of Ring of Honor in that sort of 2018, 2019 period. And yeah, it's been missing something. And then watching the show was the first time I was like, it feels like Ring of Honor's back. This feels like Ring of Honor again.
Well, that's not exactly what you said. There was a production fault, and then you went, oh, that feels like Ring of Honor.
Well, as I said, Tony Khan likes to keep things authentic. Like, he likes to keep authenticity in there. Production issues are just part of the DNA of Ring of Honor. If I'm not watching an pay-per-view and it cuts out on me halfway through, I'm not watching a Ring of Honor show.
Fred Verst. Watch last night's ROH Media Scrum in full if you haven't. FTR gets it. Mercedes gets it. Gresham gets it. Joe gets it. TK gets it. What a time to be a fan of professional wrestling. Hashtag Jam that Jam. Hashtag Joe. Plasma PT. Morning, Luke and Ollie. It's been a while. I watched Supercard of Honor last night. I want to see it. Do it.
I want to see them lighters. I can feel the heat from those lighters.
It was bittersweet because Joe is back and Lethal finally turned heel, but all of the ROH guys that lost their titles was kind of sad.
It did sort of feel like a new chapter for Ring of Honor, and that new chapter was getting rid of all the old Ring of Honor stuff.
Yeah. Plasma PD again, and then Josh Woods versus Utah match just ended. I was hoping for a climax finish. Briscoes versus FTR was match of the night. I do wish it went on longer. Well, I think we all did. Fight forever chance, but that's a sign of a good match.
Yeah, it went half an hour.
But Jay or Mark didn't use their finisher combo, so in a rematch that could happen. Temruza, ROH Supercard of Honor was insane. Suzuki as the TV champ is wild. Joe is so good, incredible. Claudio would fit right in now. SmackDown didn't sound too good. Please go watch Impact show. It was fun. New Japan was fun. So overwhelming the amount of stuff yesterday.
Yeah, really was. WrestleMania weekend is back, everyone.
Do you mind doing that?
I can do, absolutely. Pablo Jesus says, apart from the ridiculous chemistry between the Briscoes and FTR, it really felt the Briscoes were fighting for their careers. It was just amazing. The difference between them signing under the AEW umbrella and not could be the big difference. I guess we'll see. Meng said, this was my first time watching Ring of Honor. They did such great work establishing what they have to offer. Big fan of the pure championship rules. OMG, Keith Lee lost in the shuffle again, main eventing Rampage. Save us, Salty Ollie. Thank you guys for your hard work.
They let a visual pin happen on Keith Lee. It's outrageous. He's not won a title yet.
J.S. Wooten, Ollie is so broken by the Hangman Page title reign. He now doubts Tony Khan running Ring of Honor. TK already works 2 other jobs, so adding one more can burn him out. But unlike, say, Vince, he seems self-aware enough to know what he can and can't do. DAD and Ollie's hair for life.
Tony Khan continues to astound and overcome what I think is possible of one human being. So hopefully, hopefully, J.S. Wooten. But I worry because I lived through TNA.
Omar Jose said, "Hi, this is a message to Tony Khan. We all know he's watching. Give us an entire episode of Dynamite where it's just promo segments between Joe and Eddie. It's my dream feud. It'll be the greatest Dynamite ever. Love you, lad. Jam that jam."
Seconded.
Tenreza, TK, you might as well buy Impact and go wild with their past history as well. Really hope they do build to Perazo versus Martinez coming out of Supercard. What do you hope to see going forward? Dynamite is loaded. I'm a kid at a candy shop right now.
I mean, obviously, the big dream is the ROH invasion. And Punk, Danielson, Joe all like reveal their ROH t-shirts.
Yeah, like, well, we did talk about how like Punk and Joe being the main event of like the summer show would be pretty awesome. Painted by also, and the other thing, and Tony Khan did bring this up because someone asked him, is being in contact with Maria Kanellis again and getting her to run the women's division, and just like because she was doing really good work in establishing that women's division. It's a shame to see that the work go to waste. Painted Viper, I hated the fact that the Young Bucks showed up on Supercard of Honor. They should have just kept it to one promotion.
Oh, I love that. When we saw that happen, so what happened? Oh no, we talked about it already. When the Bucks came in, it was just at the perfect moment for genuine heel heat because it was such a nice exchange between FTR and the Briscoes after their match. They hugged and they let that all play out, and then the Bucks. I genuinely annoyed at them as characters. I thought it worked very well.
Same here. Michaela Traub, please sign Willow Nightingale. Not only is she near the top of my wish list, but she's both the Lenton and adorable. She had a great promo at Supercard as well as a fantastic match. Mercedes looked awesome as well. My fave match of the night.
Yeah, I heard that Nightingale was really good. We've only watched the tag match.
Yeah,
because we had to watch so many shows today.
Amazingly, there were no Ultrachats sent in about SmackDown. That is amazing.
Well, it was not an interesting 2 hours.
Not even about like poor Finn. Usually you get at least one of those. This was missed from Friday's show. Really want Shane to just laugh. That was in reference to Shane McMahon being the match instead of Cody Rhodes. Yeah. Also, R.I.P. Taylor Hawkins. Devastating news. Glad I got to see him at Madison Square Garden last year. First show at the Garden since the reopening. And there's a question for Tempest about what his favourite Foo song is. Mine is Learn to Fly or Making a Fire. What's your favourite Foo song?
Oh, man. Maybe, is it My Hero?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a colour and shape guy. So
same.
It's like Monkey Wrench, Everlong is just one of the most beautiful songs ever written. My Hero is beautiful. Yeah. But, you know, also their first album, For All the Cows, is one of my favourite ones.
Me to talk about it. I just used to watch that video all the time on Kerrang. Yeah. It was like the Mentos.
Big Me, man.
Big Me, yeah.
Aaron David, I'm so happy Sean's gonads got sapped last night. Lads, which Mania match do you think has the potential to over-deliver this weekend? I'm in the minority here, but after Bad Bunny last year, I can't wait for the in-ring debut of Pat McAfee. Well, you also missed this from Raw as well. They're hyping it up that it is his in-ring debut by going, it's Pat McAfee's WrestleMania in-ring debut.
Oh, no. How dare you? That Cole McAfee match was awesome.
I know, but he's not there anymore, is he?
Yeah, I think I'll say that. I think McAfee will over-deliver.
Yeah,
that'll be the match at the end of the weekend. We're all like, oh, hot damn.
Mayor of Painesville, Dan. Good morning, lads. Yes, good morning. I watched all of this live and I got to bed at 7 a.m. Just opened my eyes 15 minutes before this stream. Maybe I'm too old to watch all of this stuff live. I like how Tony is aware that Ring of Honor during Mania weekend might be too much.
Well, he also went head-to-head with his own program. Rampage was on at the same time as the pay-per-view.
Duquan G and Plasma PD have become members. Welcome to the team. Darbicus says, fan Quizzlemania loser, but first time Ultra Chatter. 3 thoughts from last night. Number 1, I wouldn't be surprised if Undertaker showed up as Seth's opponents at Mania. 2, Joe versus everyone in AEW confirmed. And 3, why exactly couldn't Ricochet be on the Mania cards?
Just haven't got enough time.
Well, yeah. Anonymous says, are you guys not reviewing GCW? You know Sean Ross Sapp is in it and probably got his ass kicked. Love y'all.
What did happen?
Oh, okay.
What did happen to Sean?
So this was at Joey Janela's spring break. Sean Ross Sapp was in the Battle Royal going up against Josh Barnett, but oh no! Denise Salcedo low-blowed Sean Ross Sapp and then eliminated him from the Battle Royal. Sean's promo that he did beforehand as well. I saw it on Twitter yesterday where he was like, I'm going to go into the ring and eliminate 30 people less famous than me. Lost City says, you guy needs the fiver for all the work you're doing this weekend. Hats off to Denise Rick Rude Salcedo before 2022 is over. I want an all promotions, all in invitational. Ten Ruzza said, good luck tonight with the reactions, lad. Ollie, have a huge cough before, though. Hee. I'm just here thinking about Joe and Danielson on screen with Regal and Mox. FTR versus Briscoes was historical. A Sunday morning beer with you reactions here in Melbourne coming up.
Nice.
Samad Ali. Man, I haven't had your name in a while. Hey, guys, imagine if WWE did this for Cody's entrance. Instead of having wrestling has more than one royal family, it's changed to sports entertainment has more than one royal family. You guys are awesome. Luke, you're the nicest dude ever. Thanks, man. And Akeem Mayfield, lastly, said, what happened to Roosh? Wasn't he the Ring of Honor champion?
Did he lose it
Lost it to Bandito.
or did he vacate it to Bandito?
So remind
Because
ourselves.
he was scarily unwell, but I think he recovered.
Yeah, I see you just fill for me for a second.
Oh no.
Yep, that's it. Good filling there. Are you done? Yeah, Bandito won it in July of last year off of Roosh at Best in the World. And then it was sort of vacated.
Cool. Well, thank you everybody for joining us for this bumper Ring of Honor, AEW, and WWE review show. It's like 3 years ago, isn't it?
Yeah.
But just New Japan as substitute for AEW. We've got loads of content. Luke, run us through it.
Indeed we do. So, in just a few hours' time, we'll be going live with our WrestleMania Night 1 reactions. It's me, Pete, Andy, and Adam. We're also going to be playing a bit of 2K during the pre-show as well, so join us for that fun. And then tomorrow, Ollie and I will be reviewing WrestleMania Night 1. Then, a few hours after that, myself, Pete, Andy, and Adam will be doing live reactions to Night 2 of WrestleMania. And the following day, Ollie and I will be doing a review of that show. And then, a few hours after that, myself and Pete will be doing live reactions to the Raw After Mania. And then the day after that, me and Ollie are going to do a review of Raw After Mania. So please do subscribe to this channel. Enable notifications to always on so you know when we go live with all of our WrestleMania coverage.
Jam that jam.
Jam that jam, everyone.